Bought our home on Tiffany Circle, number 714. where the Dunbar family remains nested to this very day. And it was here, 714 Tiffany Circle, where I first encountered Cason on his favorite habit, Halloween. I recall mistaking her for a trick-or-treater. She wore, I remember, a skirt the size of a beer cozy. A short furry jacket, and on her face enough rouge, lipstick, and eyeliner to paint our entire house inside out. She's a very small person, and I mistook her for a child. A child masquerading as a prostitute. I handed her a fistful of chocolate nougats, hoping that, like the other children, she'd quickly move on to the next house. But Cason was no trick-or-treater. I started to close the door, but was interrupted by her interpreter, a very feminine-looking man carrying an attaché case. He introduced himself to me in English, and then turned to Cason and began speaking a language that I have sadly come to recognize as Vietnamese. While our language flows from our mouths, the Vietnamese language sounds as though it's being forced from the speaker in a series of heavy and merciless blows. The words themselves are the sounds of pain. Cason responded to the interpreter. Her voice is high-pitched and relentless as a car alarm. The two of them stood there on my front step, screeching away in Vietnamese while I stood by, frightened and confused. And I still am, to this day, frightened and confused. It is frightening to me to think that after all these years, a full-grown bastard, and I use that word technically, can cross the seas, make herself comfortable in my home, all the blessings of our government. 22 years ago, Uncle Sam couldn't stand the Vietnamese. Now he's dressing them like prostitutes, moving them into our houses. Out of nowhere, this young woman appears with the force and mystery of the swine flu. And there appears to be nothing that we can do about it. Out of nowhere, this landmine knocks upon my door, and I'm expected to recognize her as my child? Clifford likes to say that the Dunbar children inherited their mother's looks and their father's brains. It's true. Kevin, Jacqueline, and Kyle are all just as good looking as they can possibly be. And smart? Yeah, they're smart enough. Smart like their father. All with the exception of our oldest son, Kevin. After graduating Feeney State, or moving high with honors, he's currently enrolled in Feeney State, majoring in chemical engineering. He's made the honor roll every semester, and there appears to be no stopping him. Already a year and a half in, and the job offers are pouring in. We love you, Kevin! I like to joke that when God handed out the brains, he saw Kevin standing first in line and just awarded him the whole sack. Now, what the other children lack in brains, they make up for in other ways. They have personalities, qualities, and they make observations. Unlike Cason, who seems to think that she can float through life on her looks alone. She hasn't got the ambition God gave a sparrow. She arrived here 6 weeks ago speaking only the words, Daddy, Shiny, and $5 now. While an industrious person might buckle down and seriously study the language of her newly adopted country, Cason appeared to be in no hurry whatsoever. When asked a simple question like, why did you go back where you came from? She touched my hand and launched into a spasm of Vietnamese dribble, as if I were the outsider, as if I were the one that was expected to learn her language. We were visited several times by Lonnie Tippett, that interpreter, that man, who accompanied Kay-san on her initial visit. Mr. Tippett seemed to feel that the Dunbar door was open to him 24 hours a day, any time, day or night. He'd drop by most often during the supper hours and between helpings of my home-cooked meals. Thank you very much. Touch base with his friend, Kay-san. You don't think she's getting enough exposure to the community? He would say. Why don't you try taking her to church events and local community get-togethers? Well, that was easy enough for him to say. I said, you tried taking a girl in a halter top to a confirmation class. You tried taking her to the Autumn-Craft Caravan, watch her snatch at every shiny object that catches her eye. I've learned my lesson already. Mr. Tippett went so far as to suggest that we hire him as Kay-san's English tutor. And get this, $17 an hour. $17 an hour, so she can learn to knit and twitter and flutter her hands like two small birds. No, thank you. I'm not in the habit of throwing away my money, friends, and that's what it would have amounted to. A person has to want to learn, I know this. Apparently back in Ho Chi Minh City, Her Majesty was treated like a queen. Sees no reason to change her ways. Her Highness rises around noon, wolfs down a fish or two. All she eats is fish and chicken breast. And then settles herself in front of the makeup mirror, eagerly awaiting the arrival of her father, home from work. Sound of his car in the driveway, she perks up, races to the door like a spaniel, panting, wagging her tail to beat the band. I don't know how they behave in Vietnam, but in the United States, it's not customary for a half-dressed stepdaughter to offer her father a $5 massage. After having spent an exhausting day attempting to communicate a list of simple chores, I would stand in amazement at Kay-san's sudden grasp of the English language when confronted with my husband. Happy? I got a shiny now, okay. Oh, big feet. Friendly with the ABC, Kay-san. You big bird. Daddy Grover. Apparently she picked up a few words from watching Sesame Street. Commercial-free job. He began listening to the radio. Kay-san treats our youngest son, Kyle, with complete indifference, which I suppose is a blessing in disguise. This entire episode has been very difficult for Kyle, who at the age of 15 happens to be the artistic lumen of the family. He spends many hours alone in his room, listening to music, burning incense, carving gnomes. Kyle is so cute. Kyle is very good-looking and talented, and we look forward to the day in which he puts aside his jackknife and bar of Irish Spring and begins carving out a future for himself, rather than a shriveled troll. He is at a very difficult age, and we pray that he will outgrow it and follow in his brother's footsteps to success before it's too late. Hopefully the disasters of his sister Jacqueline will open his eyes to the hazards of drugs, the calamity of a thoughtless and premature marriage, and the heartache of parenthood. We had, of course, warned our daughter against marrying Timothy Speaks, being warned, threatened, cautioned, advised, what have you, but it did no good. As a young girl with all the evidence before her, she sees only what she wants to see. The marriage was bad enough, but the news of her pregnancy struck her father and I with the force of a hurricane. Timothy speaks, the father of our grandchild. How could it be? Timothy speaks, who has his back and his neck tattooed with brilliant flames. His neck! We told Jackie, we said, one of these days he's going to have to get a real job, and when he does, his employers are going to wonder why he's always wearing a turtleneck underneath his business suit. People with tattooed necks do not, as a rule, hold down high-paying jobs. Well, she ran back to Timothy, repeating our warning, and lo and behold, she showed up with a tattooed neck as well. They even made plans to have their baby tattooed. A tattoo on an infant. Timothy speaks, held our daughter in a web of madness that threatened to ensnare the entire Dunbar family. Jacqueline Dunbar speaks, who lived with Timothy in that squat space over there on West Fair Coast Avenue, bore no resemblance to the beautiful girl pictured in our photo albums. His sensitive, considerate daughter had become, under his fierce coaching, a mean-spirited, unreliable, and pregnant ghost, who eventually gave birth to a ticking time bomb. We, of course, saw it coming. The child, born on September 10th under the influence of drugs, spent the first 2 months of his life in the critical care unit at St. Joe's Hospital at a whopping cost, and guess who footed the bill for that one? Faced with the concrete responsibility of fatherhood, Timothy Speaks disappeared, gone, poof, surprise? Ah, we saw it coming. And we're happy to report that as of this writing, we have no idea where he is or what he's up to, and we do guess, but why bother? We have all read the studies, and we understand that a drug-addicted baby faces a difficult and uphill challenge in terms of living a normal life. Well, this child, having been given the legal name Satan Speaks, we felt would have a more difficult time than most. We were lucky enough to get Jacqueline into a fine treatment center on the condition that the child remained here with us, until which time, if ever, she was able to assume responsibility for him. The child arrived at our home on November 10th, and shortly thereafter, following her initial drug withdrawal, Jack had granted us permission to address it as Dawn. Dawn. A nice, simple name. Dawn. It made a difference, believe me. While I could not describe him as being a normal child, taking care of young Dawn gave me a great deal of pleasure. Terribly insistent, prone to hideous rashes, and around-the-clock 24-hour screamer, he was our grandchild and we loved him. Knowing that he would physically grow into adulthood while maintaining the attention span of a common housefly, we did not in the least bit diminish our feelings for him. Clifford liked to joke that Dawn was a crack baby because he woke us up at the crack of dawn. I would then take the opportunity to note that Kayson has been a crack baby herself. Well, they're wandering around the house all hours of the day and night wearing nothing but a pair of hot pants and a glorified sports bra. Oftentimes a napkin in her lap at dinner time afforded her more coverage than she was accustomed to. Clifford suggested that I buy her a few decent dresses, a couple pairs of jeans, and I tried. Oh, how I tried. I sat with her, leafing through catalogs, and watched as she clawed at the expensive designer outfits. I walked with her through Cutthroats and Discount Plus, and watched as she turned her nose up at their sensibly priced clothing. Now, I don't know about you, but in this family, the children are rewarded for hard work. You call it old-fashioned, but if you want a $50 sweater, you've got to prove that you deserve it. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. A family is not a charitable organization. Because I wanted something for nothing. So I buttoned up my purse and I said the most difficult word a parent can say, no! I made her several outfits sewn with my own 2 hands. 2 floor-length dresses, beautiful burlap dresses. But did she wear them? Of course not! Now, when the winter winds began to blow, she took to draping herself in her bed blanket, huddling beside the fireplace. While her poor little match girl routine might win her a Tony Award on Broadway, it did nothing for this ticket holder. She continued to follow at Clifford's heels until Thanksgiving Day, when she was introduced to our son, Kevin, home for the holidays. One look at Kevin and it was Clifford, who, as far as his son was concerned. One look at our handsome son, the shivering victim dropped her blanket. It is a fact that she appeared at our Thanksgiving table wearing nothing but a string bikini. Not in my house, said yours truly. When I demanded that she change into one of the dresses that I had sewn for her, Cason frowned into her cranberry sauce, pretending not to understand me. Kevin and Clifford tried to convince me that it's customary for the women in Vietnam to wear swimsuits on Thanksgiving Day, but I still don't believe a word of it. Since when do the Vietnamese celebrate Thanksgiving? What do those people have to be thankful for? She ruined our holiday dinner with her giggling, coy games. She sat beside Kevin until, insisting that she'd seen a spider in her chair, she moved into his lap. Ooh, then no. Funky Master Jam Party. Really precious spider. $5 big bird? Those of you who know Kevin know that while he is an absolute rip at some things, he's terribly naive at others. Tall, good-looking, easy with a smile. Kevin has been the target of many a huntress. Always a gentleman, Kevin treats the young ladies like glass, which, looking back, makes sense because you could see through each and every one of them. When he asked to bring a date home for Thanksgiving, I said, no, I don't think that's a good idea, seeing as how we're all under enough stress now as it is. But looking back, I wish that he had brought a date, as it might have dampened the sky-high hopes and aspirations of Cason, his half-sister. No, big potato. Spoonful too hard. Oh, you Kevin have a shiny face like a big hand of the chicken. So crazy. Okay. I barely choked down my meal. Until Kevin, the greatest joy of my life, called an end to the private English lesson he was giving Cason in his bedroom, got into his car, and returned to Beanie State. Now, as I mentioned before, Kevin has always been a very caring person, always going out of his way to lend a hand, comfort a stranger, and being as that is his nature, he returned to school and evidently began phoning Cason, sometimes speaking with the aid of a Vietnamese student who acted as an interpreter. He was, in his own foolish way, trying to help her feel welcome and adapt to life in her new highly advanced country. That is the Kevin that we all know and love, always willing to help folks that are less intelligent than himself. Backwards to coax a smile. Unfortunately, Kay-san misinterpreted his interest as a declaration of romantic concern. She took to manning the telephone, hovering above it, regarding it as if it were a living creature. And God forbid anybody called for Kyle Clifford and I, she'd simply hang up. Eventually recognizing that this behavior bordered on madness, I had a word with her. He's not for you, I yelled. I have been criticized for yelling. Been told that it serves no real purpose when speaking to a foreigner, but at least it gets their attention. He's my son, in college, on the dean's list, not for you. She was perched beside the telephone with a curling iron in her hand.
No.
The sound of my voice, she instinctively turned her attention elsewhere. Both my son and my husband are off limits to you as far as you're concerned. Do you understand? They're both related to you in one way or another, and that makes it wrong. Automatically wrong. Bad. Bad. Wrong and bad together. The Kay-san to be with Jocelyn's son or husband. Do you understand what I'm saying to you now? She looked up momentarily before returning her attention to the electrical cord. I gave up. Trying to explain moral principles to Kay-san was like trying to review a standard 1040 tax form with a house cat. She only understands what she wants to understand. Say the word shopping, and quicker than you blink, she's sitting in the front seat of the car. Try a more complicated word like sweep or iron. She shrugs her shoulders and retreats to the bedroom. Looking back, I suppose that I had no valid reason to trust her sudden willingness to lend a hand. But on the day in question, I was nearing the end of my rope. We were approaching Christmas, December 16th, when I made the thoughtless mistake of asking her to watch the child while I ran some errands. With a needy, shriveled newborn, a teenage son, and a half-dressed stepdaughter in my house, my hands were full. From one moment to the next, 28 hours a day. It was 9 days before Christmas, and as busy as I was, I hadn't bought a single gift. Santa, where are you? Now, that particular afternoon, Kyle was at school, Clifford was at work, and Kay-san was seated next to the telephone, picking at a leftover baked fish with her bare hands. Watch the baby, I said. Watch baby Dawn while I go out. She considered her greasy fingers. You watch baby Dawn while Jocelyn goes shopping. For the special present for the Kay-san, I said. Ho, 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 special Christmas for the Kay-san, ho. The sound of the word shopping, she perked up, gave me her full attention. Now, having heard the radio and watched television, Kay-san had come to understand Christmas as an opportunity to receive gifts and was in the habit of using the words ho, ho, ho. Now, I clearly remember my choice of words on that cold and cloudy December afternoon. I did not say babysit, for fear that she might take me at my word and literally sit upon the baby. Watch the baby, I said to that 22-year-old adult on December 16th. Watch the baby, I repeated as we stood over the crib, observing the wailing child. I picked him up, rocked him gently as he struggled in my arms. Watch baby! Oh, he said, huh? Oh, watch a baby! Kason responded, holding out her arms to accept the wailing child. Oh, he said, oh, watch a baby. For the Jefferson to go get the shopper special for the Kason hole. Oh, shiny. Exactly, I said, laying a hand upon her shoulder. I was, at that moment in time, convinced of her sincerity. I was willing to set aside all of the trouble that she had visited upon this household and give her a second chance. That's all behind us now, I said to myself, as I observed her cradle the struggling child. Oh, what a fool I was. I can't account for every moment of my afternoon. Never did it occur to me that I would one day be called upon to do so. But that being the case, I shall report what I can remember. I can comfortably testify that on the afternoon of December 16th, I visited the White Paw Shopping Center, where I entered the slack heap looking for a gift for Kyle. I found what he wanted, but not his size. I then exited the slack heap and entered the boardroom, where I purchased an armful for my daughter Jacqueline. I'm not going to give away any Christmas surprises here, why should I? I then stuck my head in Turtleneck Crossing and searched for candles at Wax and Wayne, and I suppose I browsed. There are close to over 100 shops in the White Paw Shopping Center, and you'll have to forgive me if I cannot provide a detailed account of how long I spent in this store or that store. I shopped till I grew weary of the time. It was getting dark, perhaps around 4:30 or so, when I pulled into my driveway on Tiffany Circle. I collected my packages from the car and entered my front door, where I was immediately struck by a new silence. This doesn't feel right to me, I said to myself. It was intuition, a mother's intuition. Something's wrong. Something is terribly, terribly wrong. And before calling out for Kason or checking on the child, I instinctively phoned the police. I then stood there, stock still in my living room, staring at my packages until they arrived. 27 minutes later. But at the sound of the squad car in the driveway, Kason made an entrance, parading down the stairs in a black lace half-slip and a choker made out of the cuff of one of Kevin's old choir robes. "Where's the baby?" I said. "Where's baby Dawn?" Accompanied by the police, we went upstairs and stood over the now empty crib. "Where is my grandchild? What have you done to my grandchild?" Kason, of course, said nothing. It is part of her act to tug at her hemline and feign shyness when confronted by strangers. Well, we left her standing there, the police and I, and we began our search. We combed the entire house before finally finding the baby in the laundry room, warm but lifeless in the dryer.
Oh.
The autopsies also revealed that baby Dawn had undergone a wash cycle, hot wash, cold rinse. And he died long before the spin cycle, which I guess is the only blessing that could be had in this entire ugly episode. And I'm still, to this day, haunted by the mental picture of my grandchild undergoing such brutality. The relentless pounding he must have received during these 45 minutes in the dryers. Something I'd rather not think about. one wishes for an only grandchild to run, play, graduate college, to marry and succeed, not to be... See, I can't even say it. Shock and horror following Don's death are something I'd rather not recount. Calling our children to report the news and watching as the baby's body, small as a loaf of bread, was zipped into that heavy plastic bag. These images had nothing to do with the merriment of Christmas. And I'm sorry if my mention of them has dampened your spirits on this, the most special and glittering time of the year. The evening of December 16th was a very dark hour for the Dunbar family. But at least with Quezon in police custody, we could grieve privately, knowing that justice had been served. How foolish we were! The bitter tears were still wet upon our faces when the police returned to Tiffany Circle and began their ruthless questioning of yours truly. Through the aid of an interpreter, Quezon had spent a sleepless night at police headquarters constructing a story of unspeakable lies and betrayal. While I'm not at liberty to discuss her exact testimony, allow me to express my disappointment that anyone, let alone the police, would take Quezon's word over my own. How could I have put a helpless child in the washing machine? And even if I were cruel enough to do such a thing, when would I have found the time? I was out shopping. You may have read that our so-called neighbor, Cherise Claremont Shea, reported that she witnessed me leaving my house at 1:15 on December 16th and allegedly parked my car at the far corner of Tiffany and Papa George, and in her words, creep through her backyard and in through my basement door. Well, Cherise Claremont Shea certainly understands the meaning of the word creep, doesn't she? She's been married to one for so long that she's turned into a bit of a creep herself. And if the makeup that she applies is any indication of her vision, well, then I think it's safe to say that she can't see 2 inches in front of her face, let alone testify to the identity of someone she thinks she may have seen creep through her backyard. She's on pills. Everyone knows that. She's desperate for attention. And I might pity her in different circumstances. I did not creep through the Shay's unkept backyard, but even if I had, what possible motive could I have had? Why would I want to murder my own grandchild? This is madness, pure and simple. As far as the others who've made statements against me, Chas Stapleton, Vivian Taps, well, they were both at home during a weekday afternoon doing, guess what? Huh? While their spouses were hard at work. What are they hiding? These charges are ridiculous. Yet I must take them seriously as my very life may depend on them. Listening to a taped translation of Quezon's statement, the Dunbar family has come to fully understand the meaning of the words vindictive, controlling, manipulative, greedy, and in a spiritual sense, ugly. Not exactly the words one wishes to toss about during the holiday season. A hearing has been set for December 27th, and knowing how disappointed you, our friends and family, would feel at being left out, I've included the time and address at the bottom of this newsletter. The hearing is an opportunity during which you might convey your belated Christmas spirit through deed and action. Given the opportunity to defend your character, I would not hesitate in the least. And I know that you must feel the same way about me. That heartfelt concern, that desire to stand beside your friends and family. Why, it's the very basis of the Christmas season, isn't it? While this year's Dunbar Christmas will be seasoned with loss and sadness, we plan to proceed as best we can towards that day of days. December 27th, 1:45 p.m., White Paw County Courthouse, room 412. I will be calling you to remind you of this information. And I look forward to hearing of the festive bounty of your holiday season. Until then, we wish the best to you and yours. Merry Christmas, the Dunbars. Happy birthday. Your name's Annie. You ready? Here we go. Happy birthday.